Brothers and sisters, thanks for joining me. Hey, today I'd like to talk about crime and punishment here in the US. As everybody knows, over the last 10 years, they've really tried to get Trump and used every dirty legal trick in the book to get him. I'm not saying the guy is an angel, but the cases against him are so bad. It's deplorable what they've done to him. And so I saw this other interesting thing come out that had some kind of connection to that. So let's take a look at it. There's a story on Newsmax, newly released photos of Joe Biden meeting Hunter's partners. Okay. And it looks like there's a video here. Let's play the video and then we'll talk about this article.
President Biden handing down a pardon which protects Hunter from ever facing federal charges for any crimes he could have possibly have committed over the past decade. Historians saying they haven't seen a pardon so sweeping since Richard Nixon was given that blanket pardon by Gerald Ford. But this is something that Joe Biden and the White House were vowing that he would never do. Take a look.
I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
When would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
So, yes, he did pardon his son just yesterday.
All right, so what does that have to do with newly released photos show Biden meeting with Hunter's partners? They don't seem like they're connected, do they? All right, let's read and see. Photos released this week by the National Archives and Records Administration show then Vice President Joe Biden meeting with first son Hunter Biden's business partners in China, assertions of which the president has repeatedly denied. During a trip to Beijing in 2013 is when it happened. So the photos were published by America First Legal on Monday, 2 months after the NARA first promised to release them. So I guess the National Archives. In July, they communicated to America First Legal that the photos would be released on October 24th. 13 days before Election Day. However, lawyers and representatives of Joe Biden and former President Barack Obama delayed the release. Of course they did. It's the exact same thing as we just saw up above. Of course, Joe Biden was going to give Hunter a pardon. He's his son. What father wouldn't? You'd get your son out of a jam if you could, wouldn't you? It's the same thing. He was lying that whole time. And so was everybody else who thought that he wasn't going to get a pardon. Or either that or you're really naive. So why did he do it? They had an election to win. At first, Biden wanted to win the election for himself, and then he didn't want to hurt Vice President Harris's chances. So it's the same thing. They're delaying the release of this information also, just like they pardoned Hunter after the election. They wanted these things to come out after the election. Any reasonable person can see that, and you're either naive or Trump deranged if you couldn't. The photos rebut Joe Biden's repeated denials about meeting or interacting with at least a few of his son's foreign business partners, of which there were many, according to House investigators. Among the more than 125 photos released are some that show then Vice President Biden meeting and taking pictures with Hunter Biden's business associates from BHR Partners, including Jonathan Lee, Ming Xu. According to AFL, the Biden administration is preventing the release of another 182 photos. This past spring, President Biden denied meeting his son's business partners, just like he denied that he would give his son a pardon. I did not interact with their partners. Well, who are you going to believe? You going to believe your lying eyes in the pictures, or are you going to believe Joe Biden, who tells lies all the time? And it's not just a function of his mental state. He's always told lies. If you look back 20 years ago, he was lying. Biden told reporters days after Hunter Biden told a congressional impeachment inquiry that his father did attend a couple of dinners in Washington, D.C. to meet his partners. Similarly, in 23, President Biden called assertions that he had met with Hunter's business partners a bunch of lies. Again, there's photos. See, somebody dug out the receipts. In addition, the meeting lead, Joe Biden wrote college recommendation letters for both of Lee's children, according to testimony given by former Hunter Biden associate Devin Archer. Hey, it's nice to get a recommendation from the president, or I don't know what the timing was. Maybe he was vice president or senator. So definitely he interacted with these people. But why would we care? He's just interacting with his business partners, right? Well, let's see what else they have to say. According to AFL, these photos corroborate the House's Oversight Committee's investigative findings that Hunter Biden arranged for his father to meet Jonathan Lee and other BHR executives during the 13 China trip, where Mr. Lee sought and received access to Vice President Biden's political power, including, for example, preferential access to then U.S. Ambassador to China Max Baucus, a condition of the Hunter Biden and his associates participating in the BHR deal. BHR partners were in the process of being launched by Hunter Biden at the point the photographs were taken in 2013, including one in which he's being introduced to Chinese President Xi Jinping by his father, the New York Post reported. In all, the House Oversight Committee identified at least 20 shell companies and uncovered more than 24 million raked in by the Bidens from 2015 to 2019 by selling Joe Biden as the brand. So I'm going to highlight that. The committee identified and uncovered more than $24 million raked in by the Bidens by selling the Joe Biden brand. So it's obvious. Why was Hunter getting all this money? Why was he getting on Burisma? Why was he getting cars? It was all because it was influence peddling by his family with Joe Biden and the brand. This is definitely illegal. This is definitely a corrupt practice. Even while President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, for anything and everything he's committed or may have committed or taken part in, going all the way back to the year 2014, more evidence comes out each day showing how his family leveraged Joe Biden's even longer career in public office for private gain. America First Legal will not stop fighting to uncover the full story of the Biden family corruption, AFL counsel said in a statement accompanied by the photos released. So why do we care? We care because this really shows that the corrupt Biden family has been profiting off of Joe Biden's position as senator and then vice president and then president for his entire career. They've made millions, and Democrats are going to say this is a political hit job by a biased Republican committee, but it's there. It's there for everyone to see. Again, who are you going to believe? What Joe Biden says, what the Democrats say, or are you going to believe your lying eyes? So you really have some real corruption there. So what you're going to see next, mark my words, Joe has given a pardon to his son for anything and everything he might have done. It's a pretty wide pardon, like we saw the lady said, for anything he did for the last 11 years. And it's kind of odd that I think it was 11 years. It's odd that it's 11 years. But that goes right back to all of these Burisma things and the money that they got there. Hunter, yeah, he was charged with a few very minor offenses, but they ran out the clock and hid these other offenses. He was never charged with this other stuff. And so that's why Biden gave him the pardon, so that the other things he was doing, now that a more fair Justice Department comes in, won't bring these charges against him. But again, mark my words, the entire Biden family will get a pardon from Joe Biden before he leaves office, because any fair prosecutor is going to look at this stuff and they're going to want to prosecute members of the Biden family. I am sure of it. There is enough evidence of a potential crime here that any reasonable jury will definitely hand down an indictment. Now, they might not be found guilty, but I think there's definitely enough here to start a trial against the Biden family. It's not just Hunter. So again, there's going to be a pardon. they have profited illegally from the position of Joe Biden over the years, and he knows it. And if he doesn't give them this pardon, there's a high chance that some of his family is going to go to jail. And he doesn't want that, so he will. So Joe Biden will go down in history as one of the most corrupt presidents in U.S. history. And he may not even remember it right now because he's actually been doing this his entire career. To me, the unfairness of it is really not right. The things that they went after Trump for, and then you compare what the Bidens have done, and any reasonable person's got to look at that and say something's not right here. All right. So please comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell. You know what to do. If you don't like what I said, comment. If you do agree, comment. Let me know where I'm wrong. Let me know what else you'd like to see. Thanks. Bye.